Breaking news, an all-out manhunt is going on right now in the New York City area for this man on your screen, 28-year-old Ahmad Khan Rahami. The NYPD is seeking him in connection with the recent bombings that took place over the weekend in both New York and New Jersey. I want to bring in Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell. He's a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Good morning, Congressman. Help us here. Ahmad Khan Rahami, we know he's a 28-year-old U.S. citizen from Elizabeth, New Jersey, but of Afghan descent. Do you know anything additional about this man?
Good morning, Stephanie. And I was briefed earlier this morning, and what we know right now is there is a massive effort to understand if this person or any other persons are acting on their own, or if, in fact, they've been assisted or directed to carry this out by ISIS or any other group. Second, we also know that there does appear to be a link, ties between the multiple events that have taken place in the United States over the past few days, which suggests an organization of resources that is very troubling. We also know that the pressure cooker that was found is a pressure cooker that was designed and put together in a manner that's been prescribed by Al-Qaeda's Inspire magazine. This is a magazine available online. They've put out how to make these types of bombs before, and so it does appear that it was put together in this way.
All right, Congressman, I want to go back. You had said that these bombings, these attacks are potentially tied between New York and New Jersey. Over the weekend, there were 9 stabbings that took place by a Somali man in a Minnesota shopping mall. Do we believe that's connected as well?
So I was told that the multiple events over the past few days, it appears there are ties. And so what we're trying to run to ground is whether that includes Minnesota. In that case, you know, ISIS went out and said that individual was a soldier of ISIS, and that language we've seen from past attacks, whether it was Orlando or San Bernardino, means that ISIS did not direct that individual, but it is somebody that they accept as one of their own for the manner in which they carried out the attack. So right now, certainly with New York and New Jersey, we believe there are ties, and now trying to see how far does that network go. Does it go all the way to the Minnesota attack?
And the Minnesota attack, as you said, there was an ISIS media outlet that said he was an ISIS soldier. We have heard nothing from ISIS or any other coordinated group connecting or taking credit for what happened in New York and New Jersey, correct?
That's right. And, you know, the efforts in New York and New Jersey were not particularly successful. You know, a terrifying explosion occurred. Thankfully, no one was killed. And oftentimes, you know, if a bomb goes off that does link back to ISIS, ISIS does not necessarily want to claim responsibility for unsuccessful explosions or unsuccessful attacks. And so that is one possibility. Again, it's unclear whether this was an ISIS attack at all. And, you know, we're going to let law enforcement continue to do their work. It's actually remarkable that they already have a name out there and are searching a location and have bomb fragments that are being analyzed at Quantico. And that really is hats off to the hard work of local law enforcement and the FBI.
If it wasn't ISIS directed or it's not part of a terror cell, if the man who's the suspect from this surveillance video, Ahmad Rahami, did act alone, if he was, as they say, a lone wolf, how much harder is that for police? Maybe he wasn't even a suspect or a person of interest before.
It's incredibly hard, and what they'll do is they will hopefully be looking at who he has called, who he has talked to, who his neighbors are, and whether he has traveled overseas. That is always a big tipper for whether there are others out there or if individuals around him are also likely to carry out an attack. And so, you know, that will leave to the work of law enforcement. It is very hard, but we are increasing the resources that we have out there to understand who these individuals are, whether it's behind a computer being inspired or in the neighborhood buying readily available materials like was used in New York.
You know, I want to turn just before you go. We're focused on this manhunt, the attacks that took place in New York and New Jersey, learning more about Minnesota and sort of the threats we're facing going forward. But I want to turn to politics just for a moment, because earlier this year, you had requested a Secret Service investigation into Donald Trump when he had called out to Second Amendment supporters saying they should potentially do something about Hillary Clinton. I want to share with you what Donald Trump said over the weekend. Take a look.
I think that her bodyguards should drop all weapons. They should disarm. Right? I think they should disarm immediately. What do you think? Yes? Yes. Yeah. Take their guns away. She doesn't want guns. Let's see what happens to her.
Now, this took place Friday night, and I want to be clear again, this has no connection to the bombings and what we're talking about with the potential terror attack. But as it relates to Donald Trump, you had called for a Secret Service investigation several months ago. Are you doubling down on that after his comments Friday night?
What Donald Trump said on Friday night, again, is he's playing with fire. He's encouraging his supporters through charged language to take action against Hillary Clinton. And we know that some of his supporters, based on how they've acted at rallies and the violence that they've displayed, could put Secretary Clinton in harm's way. And Donald Trump is tacitly showing his approval of that. I do think he needs to be contacted by the Secret Service. I do think he needs that his tone could lead an individual to take a serious act against Secretary Clinton, and it's just not the behavior that's becoming of a presidential candidate of a major party.
All right, Congressman, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you for your work.